Bad Cheese looks like a Saturday morning cartoon snuck out at midnight. Your first minute is all smiley rubber hose animation and bouncy outlines. Your fifth minute is a rodent kid in a house that won't stop breathing, scrubbing beer bottles and cobwebs, while a menacing father figure lingers off screen like a bad signal. It's a 3 to 4 hour horror short that bets the farm on style and tone, then asks you to do the dishes. And it mostly works because the art and audio do the heavy lifting, while the gameplay flickers between clever and clumsy. Quick lay of the land. Developer Simon Lukasik, publisher Firdemic. Platforms across PS5, Xbox, Switch, and PC. Price point around the low double digits mark. $12.99 on PS5 was called out. You play in first person as little Kimis, a squeaky, not that mouse rodent told to keep the house tidy while mom's away. The setup is simple, the subtext isn't. Reviews converge on the same thesis. It's a compact, distinctive psychological horror that leans hard on 1920s, 30s cartoon aesthetics and an oppressive soundscape with some rough edges in puzzle clarity and control feel. PlayStation Universe calls out the mood swing best. At a glance, it's cheerful bouncy loops, big outlines, a hint of Cuphead's era. But sit with it and the charm curdles. Character proportions go deliberately wrong. Enemies look playful from across the room and grotesque up close. Jump scares exist, but the real dread is built with contrast. Squeaks and warped laughter smashed against static bursts and muffled voices, then long stretches of silence where you can hear the floorboards thinking. They ding a couple of puzzles for vagueness and note that movement can feel clunky in tight spaces. But they also frame it as a short, memorable slice of indie horror that sticks. TheXboxHub leans into the domestic horror layer. This isn't just weird for weird's sake, it plays like family trauma in a cartoon mask. You're doing chores by mom's cheery note, loading the dishwasher, vacuuming filth with an absurdly satisfying hoover, then pivoting into spider swatting that ends in a goofy, unnerving boss fight. They like the variety, combat, puzzles, platformy bits, but they are blunt about the feel. Interactions are stiff, grabbing objects isn't as intuitive as it should be, and the gameplay can feel samey, yet they light up when the machines hum. The vacuum is cathartic, the sock launcher is ridiculous in a good way, and the audio-visual package scratchy period music voice work that riffs on icons without copying lands clean. The PS4 blog brings in the trivia and trophies. Yes, the Steamboat Willie influence is explicit. The short entering public domain last year opened a creative floodgate, and this game winks at that lineage without dipping into parody. Controls are straightforward: run, jump, crouch, interact, use, for a trophy list stuffed with indulgent weirdness. Eat chips, wolf down 20 kielbasa sausages, sneak a game of Creepong without noticing, hoover your little heart out, hunt for action figures. You can platinum this if you're thorough, but you'll do it inside a tidy runtime, which is a feature for some and a complaint for others. So where do they agree, and where do we draw a line? Agreement first. The art direction is the star. It's not just old cartoon filter slapped on a FPS. It's staging, lighting, camera distance, and performance aiming for that era's cadence, then breaking it just enough to make you queasy. Faces and props drift off model as you stare. Background loops feel a touch too looped. The house itself is a character, flipping from domestic chore list to funhouse within a single corridor. Sound design carries as much weight. Vinyl crackle, warped laughter, brittle strings, and well-timed silence. It keeps your shoulders tense even when you're vacuuming crumbs, which is exactly the point. The friction points also line up. Movement is serviceable until it isn't. Tight spaces can gum up your inputs, and the leaps don't have the forgiving arc you might expect from a cartoon world. Some puzzles communicate poorly. You'll brute force a solution or wander until a note or a prop reveals the path. Combat exists, but it's not the selling point. Think spider whacking minigame more than survival sim with a deep toolset. At least one critic flagged lighting that trends too dark in spots. None of that breaks the experience, but it's the tax you pay for a one-person vision squeezing this much ambition into a short package. Let's talk tone, because it's the make or break. Bad Cheese is playful, then quietly cruel. It weaponizes chores, clean the kitchen, tuck the toys away, make daddy happy, and lets the meta leak in. A friendly checklist, an over-cheery note, a new task that's just a little off. You'll get a cheap grin from sock cannoning moths and then feel gross when a hallway painting watches you. It's not misery porn. It's specifically about that push-pull of performative cheer in a space that doesn't feel safe. That's why the horror lingers. The world's logic degrades while your to-do list doesn't. Is there a twist worth protecting? This is light on plot fireworks and heavy on mood, but there are a couple of moments where context clicks and some props reframe earlier scenes. Quick spoiler in 3, 2, 1. A few friends of dad and repeated household vices drift from background dressing into pointed threat, and the game makes you revisit simple chores once the mask slips. It's less about a single reveal and more about the house telling the truth. Spoilers off, what matters is the arc holds across a short run. So who should buy this? If you love compact, creative horror that favors texture over loadouts, it's an easy recommend at the price. If you're into analog aesthetics, theater kid performance, and the uncanny valley of cheerful gone sour, you'll vibe. If you need crunchy systems, long campaigns, or pristine input field, this will feel like an art piece with interactive interludes. If you bounce off vague puzzle clues, prepare for a couple of stalls. And if you value replay hooks, the trophy list supplies a second pass with a scavenger mindset. Veteran Games take. This is a strong yes for horror omnivores and a qualified maybe for mechanics first players. Bad Cheese isn't here to out-resident the giants. It's here to make you uncomfortable in a new way, then retreat before the spell breaks. I'll take a focused, weird swing over a bloated safe miss 9 times out of 10, and this swing connects more often than not. If this kind of no BS deep dive is your thing, hitch a ride with Veteran Game and hit subscribe. We live for scrappy ideas that punch above their budget, and we'll tell you when the vibes outweigh the jank. If you're nodding or arguing, toss a like so this take survives the algorithm, and we keep chasing the oddballs. I'll leave you with the debate seed. Should more horror games embrace mundane mechanics like cleaning and sorting to build dread? Or does that kind of domestic friction risk feeling like busy work unless the art direction is as dialed in as Bad Cheese?